Namaste. Chapter 10. And having called his 12 Talmidim near, he gave them authority over unclean rocks to cast them out, and to heal every disease and every bodily weakness. And these are the names of the 12 emissaries. First Shimon, who is called Kepha, and Andre his brother, Yakub the son of Zabadai, and Yahukanon his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Toma and Matityahu, the tax collector, Yakub the son of Alphai, and Labai, whose last name was Tadai, Shimon the Canaanite, and Yehuda from Kerioth, who did also deliver him up. Yah-ooh-sha sent these 12 out, having commanded them, saying, Do not go into the way of the Goyim, and do not enter a city of the Shamarunim, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Yisrael. And as you go, proclaim, saying, The reign of the Shamayim has drawn near. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out demons. You have received without paying, give without being paid. Do not acquire gold or silver or copper for your money belts, or a bag for the journey, or 2 undergarments, or sandals or staffs, for the worker is worthy of his food. And into whatever city or village you enter, ask who is worthy in it, and stay there until you leave. And as you enter into a house, greet it. And if the house is worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it is not worthy, let your peace return to you. And whoever does not receive you nor hear your words, when you leave that house or city, shake off the dust from your feet. Truly I say to you, it shall be more bearable for the land of Sodom and Amorah in the yom of judgment than for that city. See, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. But beware of men, for they shall deliver you up to Sanhedrin and flog you in their assemblies. And you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, as a witness to them and to the Goyim. But when they deliver you up, do not worry about how or what you shall speak, for it shall be given to you in that hour what you shall speak. For it is not you who speak, but the Ruach of your Father speaking in you. And brother shall deliver up brother to death, and a father his child. And children shall rise up against parents, and shall put them to death. And you shall be hated by all for my name's sake. But he who shall have endured to the end shall be delivered. And when they persecute you in this city, flee to another. For truly I say to you, you shall by no means have gone through the cities of Yisrael before the Son of Adam comes. A Talmid is not above his teacher, not a servant above his Adonai. It is enough for the Talmid to become like his teacher, and a servant like his Adonai. If they have called Adonai of the house Beelzebul, how much more of those in his household? Therefore do not fear them, for whatever is concealed shall be revealed, and whatever is hidden shall be made known. What I say to you in the dark, speak in the light, and what you hear in the ear, proclaim on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body but are unable to kill the being, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both being and body in Gehenna. And not 2 sparrows sold for a copper coin, and not one of them falls to the ground without your Father. And even the hairs of your head are all numbered. So do not fear, you are worth more than many sparrows. Everyone therefore who shall admit me before men, him I shall also admit before my Father who is in the Shamayim. But whoever shall deny me before men, him I shall also deny before my Father who is in the Shamayim. Do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. But I have come to bring division, a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies are those of his own household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take up his pole and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who has found his life shall lose it, and he that has lost his life for my sake shall find it. He who receives you receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me. He who receives a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward, and he who receives an obedient one in the name of an obedient one shall receive an obedient one's reward. And whoever gives one of these little ones a cup of cold water only in the name of a Talmid, truly I say to you, he shall by no means lose his reward. 1 second. Chapter 11. And it came to be, when Yah-ooh-sha ended instructing his 12 Talmidim, that he set out from there to teach and proclaim in their cities. And when Yehochanan had heard in the prison of the works of Mashiach, he sent 12 of his Talmidim and said to him, Are you the coming one, or do we look for another? And Yah-ooh-sha answering said to them, Go, report to Yehochanan what you hear and see. Blind receive sight and lame walk. Lepers are cleansed and deaf hear. Dead are raised up and poor are brought to the Besorah. And blessed is he who does not stumble in me. And as these were going, Yah-ooh-sha began to say to the crowds concerning Yehochanan, What did you go out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken by the wind? But what did you go out to see? A man dressed in soft garments? Look, those wearing soft garments are in the houses of kings. But what did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I say to you, and more than a prophet. For this is he of whom it was written, See, I send my messenger before your face, who shall prepare your way before you. Truly, I say to you, among those born of women, there has not risen one greater than Yehochanan the immerser. Yet the least one in the reign of the Shamayim is greater than he. And from the Yomim of Yehochanan the immerser till now the reign of the Shamayim is violated, and the violence sees it. For all the prophets and the Torah prophesied till Yehochanan, and if you wish to accept it, he is Eliyahu who was about to come. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. And to what shall I compare this generation? It is like children sitting in the marketplaces and calling to their companions and saying, We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We lamented to you, and you did not beat the breast. For Yehochanan came neither eating nor drinking, and they say, He has a demon. The son of Adam came eating and drinking, and they say, See, a man, a glutton and a wine drinker, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. And wisdom was declared right by her works. Then he began to reproach the cities in which most of his miracles had been done, because they did not repent. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! Because if the miracles which were done in you had been done in Zor and Zidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I say to you, it shall be more bearable for Zor and Zidon in the yom of judgment than for you. And you, Capharnaum, who were exalted to the heaven, shall be brought down to the grave. Because if the miracles which were done in you had been done in Sodom, it would have remained until this yom. But I say to you that it shall be more bearable for the land of Sodom in the yom of judgment than for you. At that time, Yah-ooh-sha responding said, I thank you, Father Adoni of the Shamayim and Aretz, because you have hidden these things from clever and learned ones and have revealed them to babes. Yes, Father, because so it was well-pleasing in your sight. All have been handed over to me by my Father, and no one knows the Son except the Father. Nor does anyone know the Father except the Son, and he to whom the Son wishes to reveal him. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I shall give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble in heart, and you shall find rest for your beings. For my yoke is gentle and my burden is light. Chapter 12. At that time, Yah-ooh-sha went through the grain fields on the Sabbath, and his Talmidim were hungry and began to pluck heads of grain to eat. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, Look, your Talmidim are doing what is not right to do on the Shabbat. But he said to them, Have you not read what Daud did when he was hungry, he and those who were with him? How he went into the house of Elohim and ate the showbread, which was not right for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the priests. Nor did you not read in the Torah that on the Shabbat, the priests in the Kodesh place profane the Shabbat and are blameless? But I say to you that in this place there is one greater than the Kodesh place. And if you had known what this means, I desire compassion and not offering, you would not have condemned the blameless. For the son of Adam is Adoni of the Shabbat. And having left her, he went into their assembly. And see, there was a man having a withered hand. And they asked him, saying, Is it right to heal on the Shabbat? So as to accuse him. And he said to them, What man is there among you who has one sheep, and if it falls into a pit on the Shabbat, shall not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more worth is a man than a sheep? For it is right to do good on the Sabbath. Then he said to the man, Stretch out your hand. And he stretched it out, and it was restored, as healthy as the other. But the Pharisees went out and took counsel against him, so as to destroy him. But Yah-ooh-sha, knowing it, withdrew from there. And large throngs followed him, and he healed them all, and warned them not to make him known, in order that what was spoken by Yeshayahu the prophet might be filled, saying, See, my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved in whom my being did delight. I shall put my rock upon him, and he shall declare lawfulness to the goyim. He shall not strive nor cry out, nor shall anyone hear his voice in the streets. A crushed reed he shall not break, and smoking flax he shall not quench, till he brings forth lawfulness forever. And the goyim shall trust in his name. Then they brought to him one who was demon-possessed, blind and dumb. And he healed him, so that the blind and dumb man both spoke and saw. And all the throngs were amazed and said, Is this the son of Daud? But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, This one does not cast out demons except by Beelzebul, the ruler of the demons. And Yah-ooh-sha knew their thoughts and said to them, Every reign divided against itself is laid waste, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Shatan casts out Shatan, he is divided against himself. How then does his reign stand? And if I, by Beelzebul, do cast out demons, by whom do your sons cast them out? Because of this they shall be your judges. But if I cast out demons by the rock of Allahim, then the reign of Yahuwah has come upon you. Or how is one able to enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods, unless he first binds the strong man, and then he shall plunder his house? He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters abroad. Because of this I say to you, all sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Ruach shall not be forgiven men. And whoever speaks a word against the son of Adam, it shall be forgiven him. But whoever speaks against the Ruach HaKodesh, it shall not be forgiven him, either in this age or in the age to come. Either identify the tree as good, and its fruit is good, or else identify the tree as rotten, and its fruit rotten, for a tree is known by its fruit. Brood of adders, how are you able to speak what is good, being wicked? For the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart. The good man brings forth what is good from the good treasures of his heart, and the wicked man brings forth what is wicked from the wicked treasure. And I say to you that for every idle word men speak, they shall give an account of it in the yom of judgment. For by your words you shall be declared obedient, and by your words you shall be declared unobedient. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered, saying, Teacher, we wish to see a sign from you. But he answering said to them, A wicked and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, and no sign shall be given to it except the sign of the prophet Yonah. For as Yonah was 3 yomim and 3 lailas in the stomach of the great fish, so shall the son of Adam be 3 yomim and 3 lailas in the heart of the Eretz. Men of Nineveh shall stand up in the judgment with this generation and condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Yonah. And look, a greater than Yonah is here. The empress of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation, and shall condemn it, for she came from the ends of the Eretz to hear the wisdom of Shalomo. And look, a greater than Shalomo is here. Now when the unclean rock goes out of a man, he goes through dry places, seeking rest, and finds none. Then he says, I shall return to my house from which I came. And when he comes, it finds it empty, swept, and decorated. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other rocks more wicked than itself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last of that man is worse than the first. So shall it also be with this wicked generation. And while he was still talking to the throngs, see, his mother and brothers stood outside, seeking to speak with him. And one said to him, See, your mother and your brothers are standing outside, seeking to speak with you. But he, answering, said to the one who spoke to him, Who is my mother, and who are my brothers? And having stretched out his hand toward his Talmidim, he said, See my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the desire of my Father, who is in the Shamayim, is my brother and sister and mother. Chapter 13. And on that yom, Yah-ooh-sha went out of the house and sat by the sea, and large throngs were gathered together to him, so that he went into a boat and sat down. And all the throng stood on the beach, and he spoke to them much in parables, saying, See, the sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some indeed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. And others fell on rocky places, where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, because they had no depth of soil. But when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered. And others fell among thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them. and others fell on good soil and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. And the Talmidim came and said to him, Why do you speak to them in parables? And he answering said to them, Because it has been given to you to know the secrets of the reign of the Shamayim, but to them it has not been given. For whoever possesses, to him more shall be given, and he shall have overflowingly. But whoever does not possess, even what he possesses shall be taken away from him. Because of this I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. And in them the prophecy of Yeshayahu is completely filled, which says, Hearing you shall hear, and by no means understand, and seeing you shall see, and by no means perceive. For the heart of this people has become thickened, and their ears are hard of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, lest they should understand with their heart and turn back and not heal them. And blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly I say to you, that many prophets and obedient ones long to see what you see, and did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear it. You then hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the rain and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is that sown by the wayside. And that sown on rocky places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy, yet he has no root in himself, but is short-lived, and when pressure or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. And that sown among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the worry of this age and the deceit of riches choke the word, and it becomes fruitless. And that sown on the good soil is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Another parable he put before them, saying, The reign of the Shamayim has become like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed the darnel among the wheat and went away. And when the blade sprouted and bore fruit, then the darnel also appeared. And the servants of Adoni of the house came and said to him, Adoni, did you not sow good seed in your field? From where then does it have the darnel? And he said to them, A man, an enemy, did this. And the servants said to him, Do you wish then that we go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the darnel, you also uproot the wheat with them. Allow both to grow together until the harvest, and at the time of harvest I shall say to the reapers, First gather the darnel and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my granary. Another parable he put before them, saying, The reign of the Shamayim is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is greater than the plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the heavens come and dwell in its branches. Another parable he spoke to them. The reign of the Shamayim is like leaven, which Anasha took and hid in 3 measures of meal until all was leavened. Yah-ooh-sha said all this to the throngs in parables, and he did not speak to them without a parable, so that what was spoken by the prophet might be filled, saying, I shall open my mouth in parables, I shall pour forth what has been hidden from the foundation of the world. Then, having sent the throngs away, Yah-ooh-sha went into the house, and his Talmidim came to him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the darnel of the field. And he answering said to them, He who is sowing the good seed is the son of Adam, and the field is the world. And the good seed, these are the sons of the rain, but the darnel are the sons of the wicked one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. And the harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the messengers. And the darnel then is gathered and burnt in the fire, so it shall be at the end of this age. The son of Adam shall send out his messengers, and they shall gather out his rain all the stumbling blocks, and those doing lawlessness, and shall throw them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then the obedient shall shine forth as the sun in the reign of their father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the reign of the Shamayim is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man having found it, hid, and for joy over it he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the reign of the Shamayim is like a man, a merchant seeking fine pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the rain of the Shamayim is like a dragnet that was thrown into the sea and gathered some of every kind, which, when it was filled, they drew to shore. And they sat down and gathered the good into baskets, but threw the rotten away. Thus shall it be at the end of the age. The messengers shall come forth and separate the wicked out of the midst of the obedient, and shall throw them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Yah-ooh-sha said to them, Have you understood all this? They said to him, Yes, Aduni. And he said to them, Therefore every scholar of scripture taught in the reign of the Shamayim is like a householder who brings out of his treasure things fresh and ancient. And it came to be when Yah-ooh-sha had ended these parables that he left there. And when he had come to his own region, he taught them in their assembly, so that they were astonished, and said, Where did this one get this wisdom and miracles? Is this not the son of the carpenter? Is not his mother called Miriam? And his brothers Jacob and Joseph and Shimon and Yehuda? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Where then did this one get all this? And they stumbled at him. But Yah-ooh-sha said to them, A prophet is not unappreciated, except in his own region and in his own house. And he did not do many miracles there because of their unbelief. Chapter 14. At that time, Herod the district ruler heard the report about Yah-ooh-sha and said to his servants, This is Yahukanon the immerser. He has risen from the dead, and that is why these mighty powers are at work in him. For Herod had arrested Yahukanon, bound him and put him in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's Asha. For Yahukanon had said to him, It is not right for you to have her. And wishing to kill him, he feared the throng because they held him as a prophet. But as Herod's birthday was being held, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. So he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. And she, being urged on by her mother, said, Give me here the head of Yahukanon the immerser on a platter. And the king was sad, but because of the oaths and the guests, he ordered it to be given, and sent and beheaded Yahukanon in prison. And his head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. And his Talmidim came and took away the body and buried it, and went and reported to Yah-ooh-sha. And when Yah-ooh-sha heard it, he withdrew from there by boat to a deserted place by himself. And when the throngs heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. And when Yah-ooh-sha came out, he saw a large throng and was moved with compassion for them, and healed their sick. And when evening came, his Talmidim came to him, saying, This is a deserted place, and the hour is already late. Dismiss the throngs, so that they might go into the villages and buy food for themselves. But Yah-ooh-sha said to them, They do not need to go away. Give them to eat yourselves. And they said to him, We have here only 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, Bring them here to me. And ordering the throngs to sit down on the grass, and taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to the heaven, he blessed it, and broke and gave the loaves to the Talmidim. And the Talmidim gave to the throngs, and all ate and were satisfied. And they picked up the pieces left over, 12 baskets filled. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. And immediately Yah-ooh-sha made his Talmidim enter into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the throngs. And having dismissed the throngs, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. And when evening had come, he was alone there. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, agitated by the waves, for the wind was against it. And in the 4th watch of Delilah, Yah-ooh-sha went to them, walking on the sea. And when the Talmidim saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a phantom. And from fear they cried. But immediately Yah-ooh-sha spoke to them, saying, Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid. And Kepha answered him and said, Aduni, if it is you, order me to come to you on the water. And he said, Come. And when Kepha had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Yah-ooh-sha. But when he saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Aduni, save me. And immediately Yah-ooh-sha stretched out his hand and took hold of him, and said to him, O you of little belief, why did you doubt? And when they came into the boat, the wind ceased. And those in the boat came and did bow to him, saying, Truly you are the son of Elohim. And having crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place recognized him, they sent out into all that surrounding region, and brought to him all who were sick, and begged him to let them only touch the tzitzit of his garment. And as many as touched it were completely healed. Chapter 15. Then there came to Yah-ooh-sha scribes and Pharisees from Jerusalem, saying, Why do your Talmidim transgress the tradition of the elders? For they do not wash their hands when they eat bread. But he answering said to them, Why do you also transgress the command of Allahim because of your tradition? For Allahim has commanded, saying, Respect your mother and your mother, father and your mother. And he who curses father or mother, let him be put to death. But you say, whoever says to his mother or father, whatever profit you might have received from me has been dedicated, is certainly released from respecting his father or mother. So you have nullified the command of Allahim by your tradition. Hypocrites, Yeshayahu rightly prophesied about you, saying, This people draw near to me with their mouth, and respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching as teachings the commands of men. And calling the throng near, he said to them, Hear and understand. Not that which goes into the mouth defiles the man, but that which comes out of the mouth, this defiles the man. Then his Talmidim came and said to him, Do you know that the Pharisees stumbled when they heard this word? But he answering said, Every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted shall be uprooted. Leave them alone. They are blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind leads the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. And Kepha answering said to him, Explain this parable to us. And Yah-ooh-sha said, Are you also still without understanding? Do you not understand that whatever enters into the mouth goes into the stomach, and is cast out in the sewer? But what comes out of the mouth comes from the heart, and these defile the man. For out of the heart come forth wicked reasonings, murders, adulteries, whorings, thefts, malicious witnessings, slanders. These defile the man. But to eat with unwashed hands does not defile the man. And Yah-ooh-sha went out from there and withdrew to the parts of Zor and Zidon. And see, an Asha of Canaan came from those borders and cried out to him, saying, Have compassion on me, Adoni, son of Dawood. My daughter is badly demon-possessed. But he did not answer her in a word. And his Talmidim came and asked him, saying, Send her away, because she cries after us. And he answering said, I was not sent except to the lost sheep of the house of Yisrael. But she came and was bowing to him, saying, Adoni, help me. And he answering said, It is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. But she said, Yes, Adoni, for even the little dogs eat the crumbs which fall from their Adonim table. And Yah-ooh-sha answering said to her, O Asha, your belief is great. Let it be to you as you desire. And her daughter was healed from that hour. And moving from there, Yah-ooh-sha came toward the Sea of Galilee, and going up to the mountain, he was sitting there. And large throngs came to him, having with them those who were lame, blind, dumb, crippled, and many others. And they laid them down at the feet of Yah-ooh-sha, and he healed them, so that the throng marveled when they saw the dumb speaking, the crippled well, the lame walking, and the blind seeing. And they praised the Allahim of Yisrael. And Yah-ooh-sha, having called his Talmidim near, said, I have compassion on the throng, because they have now continued with me 3 yomim, and do not have anything to eat. And I do not wish to send them away hungry, lest they faint on the way. And his Talmidim said to him, Where are we to get enough bread in the desert to satisfy such a large throng? And Yah-ooh-sha said to them, How many loaves do you have? And they said, 7, and a few little fish. And he commanded the throng to sit down on the ground, and taking the 7 loaves and the fish, giving thanks, he broke them and gave to his Talmidim, and the Talmidim to the throng. And all ate and were satisfied. And they picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, 7 large baskets filled. And those who ate were 4,000 men, besides women and children. And dismissing the throng, he went into the boat and came to the borders of Magdala. Chapter 16. And the Pharisees and Sadducees came, and trying him, asked that he would show them a sign from heaven. And he answering said to them, When it is evening, you say fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, stormy weather today, for the heaven is red and cloudy. You know how to discern the face of the heaven, but you are unable to discern the signs of the times. A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign shall be given to it, except the sign of the prophet Yonah. And he left them and went away. And his Talmidim came to the other side, and had forgotten to take bread. And Yah-ooh-sha said to them, Mind, and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, Because we brought no bread. But Yah-ooh-sha, aware of this, said to them, O you of little belief, why do you reason among yourselves because you brought no bread? Do you not still understand? Neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets you picked up? Or the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many large baskets you picked up? How is it that you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread, but to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees? Then they understood that he did not say to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Now when Yah-ooh-sha came into the parts of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his Talmidim, saying, Who do men say the son of Adam is? And they said, Some say Yahuchanan the immerser, and others Eliyahu, and others Yirmeyahu, or one of the prophets. He said to them, And you, who do you say I am? And Shimon Kapha answering said, You are the Mashiach, the son of the living Elohim. And Yah-ooh-sha answering said to him, Blessed are you, Shimon bar Yonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in the Shamayim. And I also say to you that you are Kapha, and on this rock I shall build my assembly, and the gates of the grave shall not overcome it. And I shall give you the keys of the reign of the Shamayim, and whatever you bind on Eretz shall be having been bound in the Shamayim, and whatever you loosen on Eretz shall be having been loosened in the Shamayim. Then he warned his Talmidim that they should say to no one that he is Yah-ooh-sha the Mashiach. From that time, Yah-ooh-sha began to show his Talmidim that it was necessary for him to go to Jerusalem and to suffer much from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and to be raised again the 3rd Yom. And Kepha took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, Be kind to yourself, Adoni. This shall not be to you. But he turned and said to Kepha, Get behind me, Shatan. You are a stumbling block to me, for your thoughts are not those of Elohim, but those of men. Then Yah-ooh-sha said to his Talmidim, If anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his pole and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life shall lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he gains all the world and loses his own life? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his life? For the son of Adam is going to come in the esteem of his Father with his messengers, and then he shall reward each according to his works. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who shall not taste death at all until they see the son of Adam coming in his reign. In King Yah-usha's name, God bless you all. Amen. Namaste.